welcome back to my channel. I'm Mendokichi and I do cosplays and make my own costumes. If you're new here, check out my Instagram for cosplay updates. And also hit that subscribe button. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I made Reimi's costume from Jojo Part 4. I hope you enjoy watching this tutorial. Also, I'm still getting used to doing voiceovers and I don't really speak well, but I hope you'll get through with this video. I made the pattern using the same bodice pattern that I used for my Jolene costume. I used this manila paper to trace out the pattern that I want. I'm tracing out the front center piece of my pattern. Make sure to mark the darts for the bust and the waist. This will help with the overall shape of the dress. Add in your desired length of the dress. Smoothen out the sharp corners. Next is tracing the front side pattern. I'll put the link in the description box for the basic bodice pattern tutorial. I also traced the shoulder straps of the dress. The width is around 1 inch. This is how the front side piece should look like. I added 1 cm of seam allowance on all sides. This is how I traced the pattern using my basic bodice pattern. For the front center pattern, I added 3 cm allowance from the center for the button of the dress. Then I traced it again to make the final pattern. I also added 1 cm seam allowance on all sides of the front center piece. This is how the front pattern pieces should look like. I used the same method to trace the back pieces, but instead of having a dart in the bust area, I only drew a straight line from the top to the waist. I also added 2 cm allowance for the zipper. I also used this pattern to trace the neckline facing. This is now the back neckline facing. I did the same for the front facing. I folded it in the center to cut an equal side. I cut out the pattern pieces on the fabric. These are the front pieces, and these are the back pieces. I sewed together the seams of the front pieces and of the back pieces, leaving the zipper seam open. I also sewed the 3 cm allowance for the buttons. I decided to use fake buttons since I'm using a zipper as the closure. This is how the front and back pieces should look like now. I ironed the fake button flap and I also ironed the seams. After ironing the seams, it's time to sew the facing. I flipped the strap right sides out. It was a little difficult since my straps were pretty narrow. Then I top stitched the neckline of the dress. I also stitched the front and back pieces together. Next is top stitching the fake button flap. This is how it looks like. I decided to leave one side unstitched to have a realistic effect on my fake button. Then I was trying to figure out how to attach the zipper. I'm not used to sewing zippers, so this was a bit of a struggle for me. My first attempt in attaching the zipper was a complete failure. My mistake was after pinning the zipper, I sewed it right away. That resulted to this very wrinkly zipper closure. I ripped out the center stitching that I made and tried out the dress. It looks really good in the front, but the backside was a mess. It was really big, so I had to make some adjustments. But before that, I decided to finish up the bottom part of my dress first. I cut out 2 triangles for this Godet. It's a different fabric from my actual dress. I sewed the hem before attaching it to the dress. I'll put the link on the description box on how to sew these Godets. I think it's Godet. I'm not sure how to pronounce it though. For a cleaner finish, I decided to top stitch this part also. Hi, it's me again. I just want to say thank you for reaching this far into the video. I hope you've already hit that subscribe button. Anyways, back to my tutorial. This is how it looks like, and I also marked out where I want to put the buttons. I also cut out 2 strips of the same fabric to make the ribbons for the godets. I sewed it in place using hand stitch. I usually dye my hair for my cosplays, so I'm gonna show you guys how I dye my hair. I mixed the red dye with a lot of conditioner to make a pink color. I added more conditioner until I'm satisfied with the shade that I want. Then I tested it out on my hair. It's still a little too bright, so I decided to add more conditioner. Then it's time to apply to my damp hair. This is probably the last time I'm dyeing my hair for cosplay, so I decided to film it. I decided to grow out my natural hair after around 3 years of bleaching it. So goodbye to colorful hair. I was shocked at how bright it turned out even after adding a lot of conditioner. But after rinsing it in the shower, it turned out pretty well. Anyways, back to the dress. I already ripped out the zipper and also reduced the back by 2 centimeters. I finally watched a tutorial on how to sew the zipper, and I followed just that and it turned out pretty well, so I'll show you guys how I did it. I sewed the back part right sides facing each other. Then I pinned the zipper on the center of the seam that I made. I made sure to pin only on the edge of the seam. Then I sewed this side of the zipper using a basting stitch. This is only to help the zipper stay in place when I sew it. After that, I closed the zipper and pinned it on the other side. Then I sewed it around using a basting stitch again, this time using a different color thread. This is going to be another temporary stitch that will help the zipper stay in place when I actually sew it in place. This is now the actual stitching of the zipper. I changed the thread color back to pink and then sewed along the basting stitch that I did earlier. My first attempt was a shortcut version of this and it was a total fail. This one is a little bit longer to make, but I think it's worth it. It's time to remove the basting stitch. This is how the zipper turned out. It's so much cleaner than the first one. Then I removed the center stitch that I made. I'm really satisfied with how the zipper turned out. Now I'm just going to attach the facing on the zipper. This is how it looks like, but I still need to trim out the excess threads. Using a stretchy fabric, I'm going to make the armband. I measured how tight I want it to be and also the length. When using a stretchy fabric, subtract an inch on the circumference of your arm for a tighter fit. I sewed the sides together using a zigzag stitch. Then I also sewed an elastic on the armband. I cut 2 strips of the stretchy fabric and attached it on the armband. And we're almost done. The last thing I did was the choker necklace. I cut a strip that is 3 inch wide and the length depends on your neck. I top stitched the folded edges. If you've reached this far of the video, it's 11 PM and I really want to sleep, but I'm trying to finish up the voiceover and I usually sleep at 10 PM. And finally, I used the pin on Jotaro's hat because I couldn't find one for Reimi. Enjoyed watching this video and I hope you guys learned some. I would really love to read your comments and maybe tell me what you want to see on my next video. I have a lot of content ideas but my problem is time. But I'll try to upload at least once a month. Thank you so much for watching. See you again on my next video.